This is question 3 on AQA GCSE Trilogy Chemistry paper. It's the 1F foundation paper from 2018. So I'm going to put the whole question up so you have an opportunity to try it first, pausing as you go, and then we can review. So here's 3.1 and 3.2, 3.3 and 3.4, 3.5, taking us to a total of 9 marks. So let's go back to 3.1. Which ion is found in all acids? One way to help you to remember this, think about the common acids that you know. Hydrochloric acid is HCl. Nitric acid, HNO3. Sulfuric acid, H2SO4. They all contain hydrogen. They all contain hydrogen ions. That is a fact that you will simply need to remember. When it comes to the question about zinc nitrate, we can make it by reacting an acid and a metal oxide. Which acid and metal oxide would we use? Well, we know that the metal is zinc, but we're asked for the metal oxide, so it's going to be zinc oxide. And in terms of the acid, we're looking at the end of the salt name. Remember, hydrochloric makes chlorides, sulfuric makes sulfates, ethanoic makes ethanoates, but nitric acid makes nitrates. And we've got our 2 marks there. On to 3.3. In an equation, zinc nitrate is written as Zn, NO3 in brackets, 2, but it's got an AQ after it. What does AQ mean? Well, AQ is short for aqueous. Aqueous, hopefully making you think of aqua, of water. Aqueous means dissolved in water. And the pH of a solution is 8. Some hydrochloric acid is added to that solution. Suggest the pH of the solution after mixing. Now, there's a huge range of answers that you can give here, but it's working on the basis that you remember that acids have a pH of lower than 7 and alkalis or bases have a pH above 7. The actual range of answers that was acceptable here was anywhere from 0 to 7. It was anything that suggested you had either neutralised it or gone beyond neutralisation and made an acid. And to finish off, it's in the style of 6 markers, so we'll look at the levelled marking in a second, but we have got solubility of 3 solids in water at room temperature: phosphorus oxide, silicon dioxide, sodium hydroxide. And we are looking at the mass of solid that dissolves in 100 cm cubed of water. We can see that sodium hydroxide, 100 grams of it can dissolve, only 50 of phosphorus oxide, but none of silicon dioxide. We've also got information about the pHs that they form, but they've been labelled A, B and C. We don't know which is which, and this question is about identifying which is which. But knowing that A will form a colourless solution of pH 14, B will form a colourless solution of pH 2, and C won't dissolve and will have a pH of 7. So what method could you carry out? Well, let's take a look at the level criteria. To get a 3 or 4 marks, to get to level 2, the method would lead to the production of a valid outcome. Key steps are identified and logically sequenced. The method would not lead to a valid outcome. Some relevant steps are identified, links are not made clear, would get you into level 1. And if you had no relevant information, you wouldn't get on to the marks. So what would we do? Well, let's take a look. We can add universal indicator. The indicator will turn blue with A. Now, we know that A is sodium hydroxide. We know that sodium hydroxide is a strong alkali. We would expect it to have a pH of 14. What we then can do is take a look at what happens with B. In B, the indicator turns red, indicating that it's an acid. Its pH is 2, and B is phosphorus oxide. Now, non-metal oxides are acidic. Metal oxides are basic. So you've got that key information that can help you as well. If you want a way to remember that more clearly, sulfur dioxide, an oxide of sulfur, a non-metal, forms acid rain. And for C, because it doesn't dissolve, and we know that silicon dioxide doesn't dissolve, we can identify that straight away. The indicator would turn green because it would actually be taking the pH of the water, and the silicon dioxide would simply have sunk to the bottom. So that takes us to the end of that question, and we're done.